there's lower than the gutter.
Yeah.
That's where the Patriots are. And why I'm saying this is because after the 32-16 loss, where the Jaguars ran for 156 yards, and ran 17 straight times at one point to close out that game. The Jaguars had a 96-yard punt return touchdown. And the Patriots, with their running backs, only had 20 rushing yards on 12 carries.
Jeez.
Jerod Mayo said we're a soft football team across the board, and boom, right there.
Right.
Then Monday morning on WEEI, his normal appearance on the Greg Hill Show, he said, let me just go ahead and correct that. We're playing soft. If you go back to training camp, there was definitely toughness all around the place. We still have the same players. We just got to play that way. We've got to be able to run the ball. We have to stop the run and cover kicks, and we did none of those. That is what equals a tough football team. And then when asked, well, was this team soft last year? He goes, at times last year, we played soft at times. There are always going to be games within each individual season where we feel like you've played soft that game. Like I said, to correct what I said from Jerod Mayo, we don't have a soft football team. We are just playing soft the last few weeks. As it's been since he was named the head coach. Just goes back and you bring it up because when we heard it, we laughed.
Yes.
But also, he had to walk that back. Cash to burn.
That's right.
Walks that back. And this is the latest.
Yep.
And we're a soft football team across the board. He's pissed off after the loss. They got pushed around. He's a defensive-minded head coach. I understand where it comes from. It's a constant walkbacks by Jerod Mayo. And doing that, just go ahead and correct it. We're playing soft. It's just time and time again. But he's not wrong. His football team is soft, and they've been playing soft since the Dolphins game. But as a head coach, it just feels like he's in over his head when I hear this.
Well, this is why you can't say a word like soft and then walk that back. I mean, listen, if you're going to call the team soft, you have to stand on business. And what he really should have done is went on the radio and said, yeah, I stand by it. We are playing soft. We need to blah, 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 blah. You know, I mean, look, what you can't do is throw something like that out there and then walk it back because your team hears that. And I said this to you after the game when we heard the comments. My issue from the beginning is you haven't done anything to earn the right to call these guys soft. I understand you played the game. I understand you're beloved around here, but this is your first time as a head coach, okay? This is your first team. You don't have the cachet to stand up there and call them soft, in my opinion. So I didn't love that he even did that to begin with. But, okay, you did it. Let's say you put your foot in your mouth because that's what it means when you walk something back. But you can't walk it back now. Your team's playing so bad. You are so new. Things are going so terrible. You just got to stand on it. And you have to double down almost and just say, look, we are playing soft. You could clarify it, but walking it back, I can't stand this, George, and I'm so glad you brought up other examples because we've done this before where we sit up here and we say, man, you can't say this. You can't do that. You can't. I'm telling you, this guy has to find a better balance because we don't want full-blown Belichick, and we've been saying this all along, where you don't tell us anything, and you're a grump, and everyone is on eggshells around you in the media and otherwise in the building because they don't know what to say or do around you because you're so negative, right? But then, I mean, bro, you're on the other side of this pendulum here of you're being too transparent. You're being too honest. You're saying whatever comes to mind. You created this kind of culture. Remember back during training camp, guys had ping pong tables and mini basketball courts and they're riding their bikes around and everyone's all so happy and playing music and Jerod Mayo's playing pranks on guys. I mean, where's all that now? So I just think he's gone too much to the other side of it. He's got to find some sort of balance, some sort of happy medium of I'm not miserable like Belichick, but I am giving you coach speak like Belichick. And then I'm certainly not going to be too damn honest and too transparent like we've seen so far. I think all that stuff is rookie mistakes on his part, and maybe he can learn from it. But I actually hate him walking back the soft comment more than I hate the soft comment itself.
I agree with that because, it's not like Drake May was crying about it. It's not like Kyle Duggar was crying about it. Daniel Ukawale wasn't crying about it. Devon Godshaw called out this team a few weeks ago. Like, the players know it. For them, let me just go ahead and correct that. We're playing. Just be like, yeah, what about soft comments? We're soft.
That's right.
We're playing soft.
That's right.
You let Raheem Mostert and Jalen Wright run all over you, over 160 yards combined between the two of them.
Man.
When the Dolphins had to have a game-winning drive, they ran the ball.
Sure did.
9 straight times to take the game-winning lead.
Yep.
On a fullback dive by the Dolphins.
Yep.
With all that speed they got.
With a third-string quarterback. Yep.
The Houston Texans, between Damian Pierce and Joe Mixon, over 175 rushing yards, 2 separate 50-plus yard runs. And Joe Mixon on one leg ran all over you guys.
Sure did.
Then when it comes to Tank Bigsby, who's the backup running back for the Jags, I think he's a better running back. Travis Etienne is talented. But the Jaguars, without their starting left tackle, same thing. At one point, ran the ball 24 of 25 times, rushed for 90 yards in the second half.
Wow.
To finish 156. Same thing, to win the game. With Trevor Lawrence at 193 passing yards, only passed it 20 times. They said, you know what? This team can't stop us up front. We're just going to keep putting it down on them. Yeah, you've been playing soft the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What got me was later in that interview, too, he was asked, well, you know, this could be a reflection of the head coach. Do you feel like you're preparing them the right way? Do you feel like you're doing your job? He goes, yeah, I think I am. So where's the disconnect in
Right.
this? That's what gets me in all this. And to walk it back, you can say the Juwan Bentleys are out and the Christian Barmore's are out. There's a lack of leadership. The no Jabril Peppers. I get that. But the leadership is still there in the head coach.
Yes.
And we haven't seen that correction. It's been 3 straight weeks of getting your teeth kicked in on the ground. And even the Jets, who couldn't run it against the Steelers, they don't care. They see it. Because it doesn't matter how bad a team is at running the ball. You can't stop it. And that is the biggest detriment.
Yeah, I also, isn't he the guy, and I feel like you brought this up, doesn't he always say, like, oh, we don't like repeat offenders?
We've seen a repeat, thank you. We've seen a repeat offender for 3 straight weeks.
Come on.
And that's just me looking at the last 3 games.
Yeah.
We can look at the rushing totals all season.
Sure.
But this team is bottom 10 in pretty much every major rushing metric defensively.
So who holds
rushing
you
yards
accountable?
per game, yards per rush allowed.
Right, because you preach, oh, we don't no repeat offenders, but like literally it's happening every week with your defense. So you're a repeat offender.
And you know how that got interesting? Bill Belichick chimed in on it.
I saw that.
So he's on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee asked him about the soft comment.
Man.
Is what Bill Belichick said. Defensively, the Patriots led the league last year in rushing defense. He didn't mention who was leading that defense.
Uh-huh.
This year, they're down to 20 somewhere. It's the same guys. They re-signed Anthony Jennings, Jelani Tavai, Kyle Duggar. Marcus Jones, a nickelback, and Christian Gonzalez had been healthy all year this year. They were both on the IR at this point last year. You got Dietrich Wise, Devon Gottschalk, Keon White, Marte Mapu, Gonzalez. It's a lot of the same players and in some cases more. I'm hurt for those guys because to call them soft, they're not soft. They were the best team in the league last year against the run. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because that is a tough group. In 2023, the Patriots were the 4th best rush defense in yards per game, but number 1 in yards per carry allowed. Last year, they allowed 6 runs of 20-plus yards all season.
Wow.
The Patriots have allowed 5 rushes of 20-plus yards so far this year. And in 2024, the 25th in yards allowed per game, 20th in yards allowed per rush, and 19th in rushing yards allowed per game.
Bro.
25th in overall yards allowed per game.
The numbers don't lie, right?
And what Bill Belichick isn't saying, but is saying is, I was a head coach.
That's right.
Even with all the injuries.
That's right.
And with one of my sons, also a de facto DC next to you, Jerod Mayo,
Yep.
that defense was fine.
Yep.
So calling them soft, he's saying the issue isn't they're soft. The issue is the coaching.
Woo! Look, I hate to agree with Coach Belichick on this, but he's absolutely right, man. And it's such a tight spot because obviously, you know, I've made the mistake, and I've admitted this to you where coming into the season, I penciled in the defense would be just fine because I thought it would be more of the status quo. I quite frankly thought we were getting a Bill Belichick clone in a sense of defense is going to be on point, special teams is going to be on point, this team won't beat themselves.
I thought the same thing.
And then the offense would be putrid, right? Yep. And it would take years to rebuild that. But listen, Coach Belichick's right because this team has regressed on every phase.